podcast.
Bring your friends.
I'm good.
Oh,
Let's go, everybody. I'm
Yes,
excited.
let's do
I'm
this.
so excited for this. We
Yes.
rarely get
Beautiful.
musicians. We rarely get to everybody listening on, if you're on audio and if you're on YouTube, if you're on the Patreon. First of all, thank you so much for following us. Eric McElroy, myself, and an awesome guest who this dude has so much musical talent. And if you don't know who it is, you know the people he's worked with, from Madonna to Mr. David Bowie to fucking Alejandro
Notorious.
Sanz to Alicia
B.I.G..
Keys,
Yep.
Mr. Michael Ciro.
Hey guys,
Hey, thanks
great
again
to
for
be
being
here, man. Great to be here. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the call.
Oh,
So we got
Awesome.
the intro out of the way. Dude, thank you for being here. Like,
yes.
this
man.
is, I love talking to musicians, especially musicians of your caliber that are just, dude, when you grab a guitar, it's just beautiful. Like I saw your improvised set with Alicia Keys and Alejandro Sanz.
Mhm.
I've seen you play.
Lisa.
I've seen you in some old videos at like huge concerts with Alejandro. Like, what got you started in music?
Oh man, thank you first. It was my dad. You know, my dad was a was a singer in the 50s and the 60s. Well, he sang all his life. But anyway, he started me on guitar. He had a buddy in the army, and this guy played guitar. And when they got out of the army, they started working together. So he always wanted me to play guitar. I actually call myself a drummer because my first love was drums.
Bro, don't say that. I got a friend
So-
who's a fan of yours. He's a drummer. He's named Josue Rivera. He's in the army in Alaska right now.
Oh
He's
yeah,
he has a degree and everything.
Oh wow. Well, my first love was drums, but my father took me to a place, and I go by it in the Bronx sometimes. I'm from the Bronx originally, and I go by sometimes, and I see the shop where I started my music lessons. And I remember the night my dad took me in there, but he had already known the guy that owned the store, so he already set it up. Like, I want him to play guitar, so when he comes in here, you tell him he should be a guitar player. Because they came in and the guy said, "What do you want to play, kid?" I said, "Drums." He said, "Let me see your hands." And I showed him my hands. He said, "Yeah, your hands are too small for drums. You're gonna play guitar," which makes no sense at all. You know, much easier to hold a drumstick than to pick up, than to break your hand. But anyway, that's how I started with my dad. My dad kind of pushed me into it.
So
At
what
8.
music do you used to listen
At
to?
8?
Like,
Wow.
starting when you
Okay.
started out listening to music as a kid, what was your jam?
Well, you know, I grew up in New York, and I got to say we had the best situation on radio going here because we had AM radio, you know, and they would play everything from Zeppelin to the Jackson 5. We would get, and everybody here was a melting pot, so we got to hear everything. I grew up with Southside, grew up with, you know, I was in the first hip hop group, you know, and I was a guitar player for Africa Bambaataa and Soul Sonic. I actually played on one of his records. So I was in the beginning of hip hop, was really the first way I started making money in the business. So that's how I started.
I know you got something. I see you cocked back, ready to ask. Go ahead. Go ahead. I know you. I know you already. It's like I live with you.
Yeah.
No, I did see everybody you were working with, but I was just curious, how did you work with Elton John? I mean, that just seemed like, from all the people you work with, that just seemed like a really...
No, I never worked with Elton John. Did it say that?
That was somebody else.
No,
Yeah.
you showed me it.
That was somebody else.
He showed me the wrong
Yeah,
guy.
there was a wrong video. The video of a dude that looked like you that
Yes.
fell back on the guitar and he kept playing.
Yeah.
And it didn't have the name. And I was like, at first I was like, that's him. And me and my friends were like looking at it.
Yeah.
But no, he worked with
Wait, what did you just say? What did you just see?
There was a gentleman that was playing guitar. Mr. John bumped into him like by accident, and the dude fell back and just kept playing.
No, that was me with Alejandro Sanz.
It was
this went viral. I went viral last week, like all over the world. Yeah. If you look again,
so that was you.
That was
Alejandro.
Okay,
Alejandro's got blonde hair now, so he's his hair is lighter, but
okay.
Yeah, that was with Alejandro, but that's the
Well,
thing
usually-
we did a million times.
Mhm.
You know, I'm there 20 years with him. So we bumped together, but he's a real, you know, he's a real rock lover from back in the day. That's his, you know, that's one of his passions. And we have a lot of conversations about old metal and stuff like that, and rock, you know, like Dio and musicians like that. We both have the same loves in that genre. So on stage, every once in a while, you know, we would bump always for 20 years. And that night, I was changing a pedal at that moment. I was on one leg, and it was a perfect storm. He just hit me at that point when I was off balance, and I couldn't get my balance. And there was a carpet that nobody knows about right next to me that covers my cables from my pedal board to the amp, you know, to the input, and I hit that with my foot, and there was a wrap. I went down.
Dude, I'm trying to find the video
and
right now.
I stayed down there
the whole time.
And he sang, and I was trying to tell him, I'm good. Take the cameras over there.
He's singing like this, and you're like,
yeah, but I wanted him to go to the other side, but you know, he felt bad, you know, and he was trying to help me.
That goes to show what kind of human being he is, man. A person who like will do that in the middle of a show. That's
he's a good dude. The only thing we thought of it afterwards, talking, we said the only thing that would have been cooler is if he lied down next to me and sang the song on his back with me. You know, like he said that to me. He said I should have lied down and finished the song like that.
That
you know, I mean, if you're gonna go viral, you might as well, you know,
that's embarrassing that I didn't get that one. That's on me. I'm so sorry.
No, it's all good.
But dude,
I love the Elton John part. I'm trying to think if I played on a remix. I might have back in the day, but I can't recall Elton. No.
But dude, that's a real like that's a fucking level. I'm trying to pull up the video now. I'm going through my things. I'm so sorry if you see me going up and down like this. But dude, that's really like I saw the bump. You literally kept your elbows tight and you bring your chest and you fell literally like this, like a martial
art. Actually check it, if you actually check it out, he actually at the last moment grabbed my forearm. He's quick, man. He's in shape, like crazy shape. I mean, he works out like an animal, you know. He's like, and he grabbed me. He grabbed me at the last minute, you know, but I'm a big guy. So he grabbed me at the last minute and I still went down. He couldn't save that, you know, but he broke my fall. So I didn't hit bad, so I didn't really get hurt. Just my feelings. Just my feelings got hurt.
Dude, but that's a rock star status right there.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
definitely.
Like that's
well, it's funny because he said to me, you know, you kept directing the band. I said, well, you know, like my options are, you know, I lie there, roll around in pain, you know, and I never ever. You know, some fans said maybe you should have stopped the song. I never want that.
You didn't miss a note.
Don't stop the song.
Don't stop the song.
Not missing.
And he knows that too.
I watched you 50 times.
He knows that. You know, me and him from the same cloth with that. You know, this guy, I'm there 20 years. He gets on stage, you know, good or bad, feeling good, feeling bad. I mean, it's show business. You know, it's like you're gonna have those moments when things don't go well, or you don't do good, or you're not feeling 100%. And man, this guy is like inspirational with that. He'll get out there and he busts it out. I mean, he busts it out like, and in the middle of the show, you know, you'll hear him like his voice will crack open and it'll be like, wow, it's like a better show than he's ever done.
Panties just getting panties being slingshot. Listen, don't lie to me, Michael. Listen, I'm a fan. I never talk about it on the show, but I'm a huge fan of Alejandro Sanz. I just see, like, I told my mom I was gonna have you on, and my mom's like, "Ay, Dios mío." But I told my dad, because my dad was the one who told me about you. My dad was like, Ciro, you gotta have him. Tiene que tenerlo, mijo.
Yeah.
And I was like watching videos of you playing, and I see you playing, and you do something that I wanted to ask you. How do you not get tired? Because you're like this the whole time, but you're flowing. How are you how does your back not hurt? I've never seen you sitting down either, by the way, except on that Alicia Keys and Alejandro one.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Like, I sit in, we play this song, you know, this song Contigo. So you know that we play this song and I take a break. I sit down on a cajon in the show. And then we have one more moment now where I sit down, where everybody sits down on the steps in the set. we have a huge stage, and we have these steps that he comes down, and we utilize them as props, you know, because they got to stay there for the show. So we sit on them for one song in the end, and that's like the whole thing is to keep on going, man. I mean, we don't stop. And yes, my back hurts. So, you know, it's that you get moments. What really bothers me is and I call it the guitar in front of me. I have a guitar on stand, and I have a guitar on my neck, and that's when it really, you know, I call it the Bon Jovi effect, because Bon Jovi was the first people we saw with the acoustic guitar on the stands, and then you had a guitar. Richie would have a guitar on his back, so I call it the Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
But it's a thing where you have to have the weight of the guitar on your neck, and then bending over this position, playing acoustic. That can once in a while locks me up. And I'm like going, uh-oh. But you know, like everything else, it passes. So
I think I see what you're talking about right here. Let me show you this. Tell me if this is what you're talking about. Talking about this right here.
No.
No, it's where he's got two guitars on.
Yeah,
he's got one slung on his back.
Wow, what is that? What is that picture though?
Which one?
Okay, yeah, there's one. No, I don't see. Oh my God. Yeah, I don't see one there.
I can tell you don't Google yourself a lot, Michael.
At all. My wife does.
Dude, so Gibson, is Gibson like your preferred guitar? Fender?
No.
What's your...
No. Right now, my preferred guitar is Paul Reed Smith.
Oh,
so I have. Well, I play a few guitars in the show. My main guitar has always been like my comfort zone. My Cadillac is Brian Moore, and their company out of New York. They're kind of defunct right now, but he's still making guitars. Patrick by himself. Patrick Cummings is the president and owner of the company, but he made, you know, I mean, you know, like Strats and Gibsons and everything like that. They're like, you know, they're always going to sound great. But this guitar is actually a guitar that sounds great, but he made it to my feel, you know? So it's like to play it, the comfortability of that guitar is like never be surpassed. You know, that these two guitars from him I own, still, those are the ones I'll keep forever, you know? But I also endorse the Angelico, and I endorse Luis Guerrero acoustics, and Antonio Bernal in the Spanish guitars. So I use about 10 guitars in the show, I think.
Oh, wow.
They want to kill me.
Yeah.
they want to kill me. My is like, Malka he's ready to shoot me. Anytime I show up anytime I take a break, I come with a guitar. He goes, no, come on. Really?
You gotta like synchronize.
Yeah, he's got to redo everything. It's like,
but I was with Gibson for years, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I was with Gibson for years, and then we had a few guitars by them, and but you know, basically everybody understands, every company that I'm involved with, they understand that not every guitar is right for every song. So you know, I do play a bunch of guitars, but I play the guitars that I'm endorsing. You know, I do include them in the show. So,
well, good.
Yeah.
Well, unless I got this wrong, you played with Sting, right?
Yeah, I played with Sting.
I got one right. All right.
Yeah, you're right. Sting and Stevie Wonder at the same time. I played with Stevie Wonder many times, but I played with Sting and Stevie Wonder. Actually, the event, if you believe it, to me, was more important than all the artists I played with that day. But the event was the inauguration of Barack Obama, the first inauguration in 2009. So I played the neighborhood ball, and I played guitar for his first dance as president with a lady at last, and Beyonce sang that. And so I was the guitar player for that event, and Sting and Stevie did Brand New Day. So Stevie was playing harp, and Sting was playing a Strat. Actually, he was playing guitar.
I gotta pause you right there. What's that like when you see those two people walk in? Is it like like when you see them walk in? Because those are two
But
amazing.
you mean
Like,
Stevie and Sting?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Well, before that, I did about, I say 5 to 6 concerts with Stevie Wonder over the years in my career.
Huh.
So I had worked with Stevie, and that's like, you know, Jesus is on stage. You know, it's like as a musician and an artist, as him as a writer, him as a musician. You know, that was like, couldn't stop staring at him like, wow.
how
And
did that happen?
some
Boy.
of you, what with me? No, I mean, I've been playing professionally for 40 years. So, you know, I'm in New York. So I was one of the guys in New York in that circle before I was working with Alejandro. You know, exactly
So how
when
did
I
you
when,
get with? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no. Before I was working with Alejandro, I was in this circle, you know, in this circuit of musicians when there was a lot of most of the work was out of New York. Now it's out of LA.
Yeah,
So
there's a shift. Everything is shifting. Like comedy now, everybody's going to Austin. Some people are leaving Cali and then they're going to New York and then they go back to Austin. Is that
dude,
seems to
comedy
be,
is like, I mean, they've closed 3 to 4 clubs in New York that were all music, and all they do is comedy now. They don't want that's why the scene for music is dying, and the scene for comedy is blowing up,
in
Oh,
right now?
in New
wow.
York. Like
What
the
happened?
place, the Village Underground used to be a place I used to go to. I actually took Alejandro there. We went together a few times and saw all the greatest New York gospel area musicians. It was crazy. The talent in there, it felt like when you went in the room, you would get some of this talent on you. There was so much heat in the room. It's like everybody sitting there having a drink just to sit in at an open mic was more talented than the next person and people that you work with for your whole life. And I worked with all of them. You know, I worked with them on big records with Mariah and with Biggie, and you know, we worked together in that circle of musicians. And then I joined Alejandro in 2003. I was just the third guitar player. There was
So
3 of us.
I gotta ask you, Michael.
Mhm.
You started playing guitar at a young age. Your dad got you into it. When did you decide? At what age did you decide? Like, okay, like I can make a living out of this. And who was like the first person that gave you like your big shot?
Never. I never felt like I never thought that I could. I never no, but I tell that because I mentor some young musicians too, and I said, you know, like they asked me like the path, you know, and I still don't think I can make a living at it. I mean, I'm just trying to make it to the finish line, man.
That's the wrong question.
No. It's like it's a good question, but I tell them it's like there's no path, you know, that you can follow. And if you're looking for that, you're doing the wrong thing.
What do you
Because
mean?
well, I said I never ever thought about money like when I started this. Now, of course, all I think about is you know how it goes with life, right? So, you know, but if you get into it, you got to get into it. So I had a job, you know, when I was a kid, and I would come home from work, and I was taking 3 showers a day. I was waking up to go to my job at 7 in the morning, then coming home at 4 o'clock, taking a shower, going out to the club, staying all night till 2 a.m., coming home, take a shower, go to bed, wake up, do the same thing every night for at least 5 years when I used to live, you know, with my dad's house.
That's like Richie. That's just like Richie Ramone.
Yeah.
Richie Ramone,
Yeah.
we asked him the same question. We're like, dude, like, what was your process? And he was like, I would work, I think he worked yard work with his dad.
Yeah.
And he would like he would like do exercises for his wrist and stuff. Cause that was one of the questions I knew you had a passion for drums. I just didn't know if you still play. So when you said that, I was like, okay, I know the answer.
Yeah.
But Richie had said he's like, dude, I would just work and then I'd go practice and then I'd sleep 5 hours and then I go do it again. And it's like, dude, that's
all we did. And it just happened like that. Like, you know, I was working a lot, playing a little, playing more. All of a sudden I was sitting in, you know, I used to be like, I don't know if you guys were Sopranos fans. You ever watch The Sopranos?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So Vinny Pastore, Big Pussy in the show, is my adopted godfather. Okay. So I knew him way before he was in The Sopranos. He used to own a club called the Crazy Horse, and Lester Chambers and Daryl Hall and all these people used to come in and see Vinny because he was friends with Tommy Mottola. So all these people would come into the club, and I get to play with them because he loved me. And he called me. He used to say, "You sound like Santana," which I hate to this day because I don't. And we're not going to talk about that. But anyway,
I don't, dude. I tell all guests, like, if there's something you don't want to talk about, I'm
no,
not.
it's all good. But that's how it was, and you just followed the path, and you did what you did, and then all of a sudden, you're making a living. I had a job driving the school bus, right, when I was 21, 22, and I was starting to tour. So it was precarious because I needed my job. Bambaataa.
Oh, yeah.
I started with Soul Sonic, and I had to go to Japan. My first time playing outside of New York, I went to Tokyo. And
Wow.
Shit.
but I needed my job, So I had to tell a story to my boss. I said, like, I gotta have surgery on my foot, so obviously I can't drive. It's gonna take about 2.5 weeks for me to heal. He said, no problem. So I went to Japan with Bambaataa. I had a ball. I came back. I had my job.
Wait, espérate. Hold on. You gotta hold on. Wait. So
That is actually easier to believe than going up to your
shut the fuck
going
up.
up to your
No,
boss.
yeah.
and
No.
Yeah, because you can't drive.
Tokyo
You
for a
gotta
couple
think of
weeks and
something,
I'll
right?
be
So
back.
you can't drive. You can't
Hold
drive.
on. Wait. No, hold on. I'm losing control here. Hold on. So
Hustler.
what year? First of
Hustler's
all,
a
what year?
hustler, baby.
What
A hustler's a hustler. I had to get that. What are you gonna ask me?
wait, what first of all, what year was this? Like the
Oh, my God.
90s, 80s?
No, 80s.
80s? Okay, I could
80.
understand how telling your boss I'm gonna go play guitar in Japan would be
84. 84.
84.
That's all you,
Okay.
buddy. I was
Yeah.
not even born.
Yeah. So I came back from my tour and I got my job, and the boss told me, you got mail in your mailbox out. I didn't even know I had a mailbox at the job. And I went and looked, and it was packed with get well cards from the kids, and I felt like a creep. I felt like a effing creep, bro. I was like,
Did you limp? Did you like limp like oh?
no, I had to tell them the
Came to work,
truth. So
yeah.
I had them on the bus. I said, hey, kids, guess what? Bus driver Mike wasn't sick. And no, they started screaming. I said, he was in Japan. Yeah, playing music. I was so excited to tell somebody. But this is how it rounds up. I was so excited to tell somebody that someone flew me to the other side of the world with my guitar and paid me money. This was the first time when you asked me, when I realized I could do it like that, is when that happened. And then I was caught. Like when I toured and made this money, and I made no money, but it was money from playing guitar.
Yeah.
Wow. So I went to Japan and came back, and then I was like, that was when I was like, okay, this interaction from the audience and me playing, this is really what I do. I mean, I did a lot of records, and I love all the work I did, but this thing, the record industry has it wrong. It's exactly what it is, record. It's a record of what you did at that moment when you created. They turned the record industry into selling this thing, this physical thing with you on it, yes. But the record is to record something that happened that's special at the moment. You following me?
Yeah.
Okay.
The chicken before the egg.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Don't put that way, because it's like, that's how the music industry happens. So I fell in love with that. And because I fell in love with that, I went on that path, and I said, I gotta do more of this. And I was in the beginning. That was the beginning of touring for the hip hop artists, in the 80s, the early 80s. That was when it was like all happening, and
That
I
would
got to
be
see. What's that?
So did your boss find out you lied?
Never.
What? Bro, those
He
kids
never
took
found
that
out
to the grave.
because it wasn't a lie. Because it wasn't a lie, actually.
How
I'll tell you
so?
why. It wasn't a lie because when I was, listen to what I did. I just told the story at a later date. When I was a kid, 17 years old, 6 or 7 years before that, I had a tumor in my foot, right? Was benign, thank God. But they had to carve it out, and I had canes for about 2.5 weeks. And I couldn't walk, and I couldn't drive. So I told the story at a later date to my boss, but I didn't feel like it was a lie. He didn't ask me when I was having the surgery or, what exactly was wrong with me. But anyway, that's how I made sense of it, dude. I was a better Catholic back then.
I was a better Catholic back then.
I'm a rotten Catholic now.
Oh my God.
I'm very, very not religious. So
That's like we had a chef called Paul Allen that he was a yacht chef.
Oh yeah,
Which
yeah.
shout out to Paul Allen, the Chef's View. He's putting some great recipes. And he went to the academy in New York, the New York,
oh yeah,
the NCA, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
yeah.
I was like, dude, that's a pretty prestigious academy. Like,
That's
Yeah.
big stuff.
get it.
That is.
And I go, how'd you get in? He goes, I lied on my resume. I told him I worked for these jobs, and I have my friends who worked at BK do stuff. This story
You know,
tops that by
do it.
all, bro.
You do what you gotta do when you gotta do it.
How'd you get in?
that-
Lied my
you know?
ass off. That's what I did. That's how I got in.
So
That's
you
it.
go to her.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't stop laughing. I'm just imagining you like, hey boss, like I gotta get my foot, man.
Oh
you know?
yeah, I had to think
What's the
about
matter?
it. 'cause
There's a
I couldn't
tumor.
go
I
back
got a
to no
tumor.
job. I was always like trying to have like a regular life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So my childhood was a disaster. So as soon as I was able to find a way to get out of my my living situation and be on my own, it was that. So I needed my job when I came back. Yeah, I'll go play this music stuff. But in the beginning, I didn't know I could make a living at it. So I never went in with that attitude. And one day I turned around and I was only doing this. And
What
that's
changed? Like what was it that changed in you that you were like, fuck, I can do this? Like what was it?
Oh, because I started to realize that this is probably what I'm supposed to do. Like, like because I did it well enough to work, and people were telling me, I wasn't sure if I was good. People would tell me that something was going on, something special. I remember the first person who told me I could do this was Buck Dharma. I know you guys are not old enough, but
no, Eric is. Eric, I'm 35.
Yeah.
Eric's
he's one of the founders, if not the founder, of Blue Oyster Cult. Okay, I don't know if you know this rock band, Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah,
huge in '70s. Anyway, at this club I told you about, Vinny Pastore's Big Pussy's club, he would come to one of the jam sessions, and he told me, he said, I don't know what you're gonna do, but you got to do this because you have what it takes to do this. And I didn't know what the hell he meant, but evidently somebody else saw it, and I just kept playing. I tell everybody now when I mentor younger musicians, I said, there's no path anymore. Just play everywhere, anywhere, anytime. Love to play all genres. That's the blessing I have from being from the Bronx. Okay,
really?
because I got white friends, black friends, Puerto Rican friends. I got every kind of music from their families because I used to go to their houses, and if they weren't playing music, their parents were playing music, and I got to love all kinds of rhythms. It's just exposure. Anything is just exposure. When you're exposed to it, you can gravitate towards it. If you're not exposed to it, it's not your, it's really not your fault. If you live out, I don't want to say a place because I don't want any trouble, but if you live out somewhere,
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
If you live anywhere and you don't get exposed to other cultures and things, then I feel sorry, like as opposed to angry. I feel like, man, it's so awesome to be, when I played on BIG's record, it was like, what I played is super simple, but super important,
Yeah.
I know Eric has questions about the notorious BIG because he's been hacking it. I know you got something because that's not my timeline. My timeline is Alicia Keys and up.
Yeah. Well, I'm just curious.
Well, go ahead.
No, I'm just curious how that started because it doesn't seem like
yeah, it's like it doesn't.
How did that go together?
Yeah, like
so there was so that's an interesting chain of events. There's a few things in my career that don't make sense.
I got all the time in the world, my man.
No, where I'm at now for 20 years with one of the biggest Latin artists. I only grew up in New York, but I'm Sicilian. I'm 100% Italian. Well, I'm Sicilian, not Italian. Anyway,
yeah, there's
but
there's a difference.
People listening in Italy, please don't give me those.
Sorry, there is, guys. You're gonna get a bunch of times to tell you it's the same. It's not. You know. Anyway, we'll get into that. We'll do another podcast just about that. But.
So what? So how did those?
No,
how did
there
what
was a
events
gentleman.
happened?
There was a gentleman named Ron Grant, was a good friend of mine, and he ran an open mic for years down here. But he also had a job at Sony, and he was like, I think his title was artist in development. So Tommy Mottola used to come to these jam sessions that we did. You know, New York is a very small place when it comes to the arts. Everybody says New York is such a big city, it's intimidating. But in the arts, we all know, all of us know each other. You know, it's that way.
That
so,
area or
yeah, in the city, in music, in theater, and we all intertwine. You know, our lives cross paths many times. You know.
Okay.
So this guy used to have an open mic, and he used to have all the great. This is the place I was telling you about. Alejandro came with me and a few other people many times, and they have all this talent there. So he would have all exposure to it. So when he was working with Sony, Tommy would say, you know, something about doing a record with Mariah. And then Puffy would come in, you know, and he had Bad Boy, and we used to play the Sony Showcase right underneath Bad Boy Studios. So he'd hear this incredible band. Check it out. So he'd hear this incredible band, and we'd have to play behind. I was in the Sony orchestra, and what our job was, every artist before they got released, every artist would have to come and play with us. So I was in that band.
Come from upstairs, or
Oh,
how would
wow.
that? How would that happen?
No. But it's two different things. Like Bad Boy was upstairs, but we had this club called the Blue Angel, which was a huge club, and we used to do once a month or twice a month. I don't remember, but I think it was twice a month. Every 2 weeks, we used to do a showcase for artists. They were about to drop Beyonce and Destiny's Child. They were going to be dropped. They didn't have a single, and they played with us. And I remember Beyonce talking to me. She was about 17, telling me, "I hope this goes good tonight because Tommy told us coming. We're really nervous." You know, and we were talking, you know, like that when she was a little girl, and look at her now. You know, but all these artists, famous, never made it, would have to play with this band, with us, in front of Tommy and all of Sony, right? So Puffy was right upstairs, so Puffy would come down. So Puffy heard the band. So we were doing, so the song I played on is Player Hater. Player, turn it up. It's the song where Puffy and Biggie actually sing. But they needed a band for that. You know, it was hip hop. Nobody needed a band in hip hop. You know, it was like it's beats and in those days it was just starting to be beats. Before that, it was just cut up records, you know, and samples. So he wanted a band to play a remake of, I believe, I can't remember if it's the Delphonics. I think it was the Delphonics of this song called Hey Love. Hey Love, hey love. And we just took the lyrics off. So he needed a band to play the rhythm section. So I was in that band. And we got called in, and Puffy was producing, and we just did the remake of Hey Love, and then we didn't know what was going to happen on top of it until the record came out. But they couldn't clear the sample, is what happened.
What do you mean? They couldn't get the copyright?
Yeah. So they wanted to put, I guess, the song Hey Love in there and then turn it into Player Hater, but the record company or the writer wouldn't let them. So if you don't play melody, if you don't steal a melody, it's very difficult to sue someone for copyright. You know?
Can I ask you a question about that?
Tell me.
And I don't know if you can answer this. I think this is more of a legality thing. How is it that some people can get away with certain, and I want to make very clear this, I am musically stupid. Like,
yeah.
So please, by all means, talk to me like a kindergartner. How is it that certain beats are okay to play in new songs that they're copying? Like, for example, there's a song nowadays that like the new Drake song. And again, I don't know if it's the same, but it sounds the same to me. So please educate me by all means. Staying Alive. Drake has a song named Staying Alive, and the beat is, so then how is that legal? How do they get through that loophole of this beat isn't really that beat because I change a tune, or how does that go?
No, I don't know this. I don't know the circumstance because there's no lawsuit, and it very well may have been a deal done. There can be a deal done prior, like if Drake's got a lot of money, so Drake doesn't have a problem going to the writers, which of that song was the Bee Gees. I
Yeah,
think
the
they
Bee
wrote
Gees,
that
yeah,
song
Bee
also,
Gees,
Staying
yeah.
Alive. Yeah.
produced it. Yeah. So you go to them and you make a deal. You once a song is released,
Mhm.
I can record it. You can record it. Yeah. It has there's usually tacked onto a contract, there's a stay of 5 years where no one can cover your song. After
Oh.
that, it's public domain. I can sing your song. I just have to pay whatever I have to pay. If I do it on TV, that's another thing. It's a fee. You have to pay to the artist, you know? So if that happens, you just have to be honest, and when you're filling out your form of writers that goes into ASCAP, into BMI, into CSAC, whatever the company may be that owns the rights to the song in collusion with the writers of the song, you just have to direct the royalties to the right place, and then you're legal. In other
Oh,
words, in other words, if you want to do a remix of so I used to do a lot of dance remixes. I used to work with a Boricua, is Little Louis Vega. I did all of Little Louis Vega's records from '96 until 2003.
Oh,
So
wait, Louis Vega?
yeah, that's me on guitar and all of that shit until
I'll be honest
2003.
with you, Michael. I don't mean to be disrespectful. I did not recognize you. I used to listen to Louis Vega. I used to listen to Louis Vega religiously when I worked out.
Well, you
I
didn't see
did
me.
not. Well, I didn't. Well,
You didn't make the connection.
videos.
Well, like on the 12 inches, they used to put. Actually, Louis was one of the only guys who used to actually on the 12 inch. He used to actually put the credits of the musicians.
Credit, yeah.
No, I played on that. I started with him and with La India, and we did
That's an old name that I haven't heard
we
in a
did
while.
a song called, oh man, is it Flashlight or
No,
Backfire?
Flashlight was Olga Tañón, right?
Backfire. Backfire. La India was on her own, but she was married to Louis, and she had a little English career with him. So she did a dance music career. She did a song in a movie. She remade. I played on it with her. We did I Love the Nightlife. I love the nightlife.
Oh,
I like the boogie. Old song. And she remade it for a movie. Disco Nights, I think, was the. So I work in all those genres, but I forgot what we were talking about.
No. So how did you get to play with BIG? They had Beyonce come down. You guys played. They liked it.
No, yeah,
so,
we played with that band, and Puffy heard us, so Puffy hired us to play on the record, and we went down there, and it was me and Ralph Rowe on drums, and Ralph is the drummer for Chic now for years with Nile Rodgers, and Kurt Lyons was on bass, and Donald Parker was piano. And we all played the sample, so we replayed the sample. So if what I was saying was melody and lyric are really only what constitutes a song. Okay. So all these people that write chord changes, okay, that's why people can use people's beats, because there's no melody involved. So it's really not considered creation. And I had a lawsuit for 9 years over a song I wrote. So I know all about the.
I got a question.
Oh, wow.
Can you please explain for the audience the difference between melody, beat, and all that? Like, what are the difference between all those?
Well, melody is just, like a melody. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Anything that has a melody is a melody. So that's considered really creation of the song, along with the words, which are the lyrics. A beat in hip hop, they coined this phrase. A beat, when I was a kid, used to mean the drummer played a beat, right?
Yeah.
But a beat now is the piece of music, whether it be 8 or 16 bars of the same loop, which people rhyme over or sing over, whatever it may be. So that's the creation of a hip hop song. It's considered a beat. In the beat, if there's no melody to the creation, then it's not copyrightable.
Oh, that's why everybody in reggaeton has the same like the same
can do it. Yeah, can do it. The same beat behind it. And imagine. There's only 12 notes in our music, right? And in Hindu and other musics, Arabic, they tend to get a quarter tone out of. They have more notes than us, but in conventional pop music, they use overtones and stuff. But it's very interesting. But it's a long conversation. But we only have 12 notes, so we only have certain chords. So imagine a blues song, right? Imagine if I wrote, if I was the one playing,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay.
Keep
Go ahead.
Keep going.
Go
Keep
ahead.
going, Michael.
like if I'm playing a blues,
Yeah.
blues phrase, it's like a 1-4-5. That's like, it's not copyrightable because how many blues songs? That's the basis of the blues, those chords. So you can't
Yeah.
copyright because we got to use them. You know what I mean? Like over and over again. So it would be a nightmare of lawsuits if there was, you know what I mean? If someone says, "Well, that's my," it's like kind of the weird situation with Robin Thicke. I don't know if you remember about 4 or 5 years back, and Pharrell against the family of what's his name, Marvin Gaye. Okay, because they claimed they stole a song, from them, and really they stole the production of it. But this is not the same song. But people need money, and they see something, and lawyers can force a settlement, out of just about anything.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I remember
Nobody
that.
wants to go to trial, right? Nobody wants to go to trial.
Yeah, because that just drags out for years.
I was in a lawsuit with Corey, actually, me and him together, not against each other. Sorry, I'm trying to plug my power in just so I don't lose you.
Okay.
Not us against each other, but we wrote a song. We wrote a song for the group TLC and submitted it, and we had a claim against their producers and their record company for 9 years. It was a really big song. It's public domain, so I can talk about the case because they actually use our case for precedents in copyright case. I know a lot about copyright, so yeah, we wrote a song called "Unpretty" by TLC. Is one of their bigger songs, but we didn't write that song. We wrote another song, and they kind of used the essence of our production and our, and so I'm not the writer of that song, but we had an ongoing legal situation for the better part of nine years, so I know all about it.
Wow. And you finally got that settled, right? You're not still...
We settled in our favor, but I lost because because the essence of the song and the production and was ours, and whatever they debated, but we proved beyond beyond a reasonable doubt that that we were involved with that the creation of that song, but what I lost was that was the #1 song of the year and nominated for a Grammy, and was the best video of the year, and sold over 1 million copies of the single alone. And the album's fan mail and the album sold a lot. So, but what we really lost is future production, because actually Stevie Nicks said she called the producer, which I don't feel like naming, but you can go look it up. The producer of the song.
If it's going to bring any legality or any uncomfortability.
No, it's not. It's nothing. It's the producer of the song. They had a poem called "Unpretty" that they were writing to, and it just ended up to be our essence of the song. So we had to we settled with them, but it was an ongoing case, and it's actually, you can look it up. Glover, my real name is Cirencion, and against the other parties, but they use it as a precedent in copyright. Actually they use it in the case. They just used it in the case with Joe Satriani against Coldplay.
Oh, okay.
Joe Satriani wrote this song and had this melody that he was saying was robbed from, so but I think, I don't know if it's settled or they dropped it or what happened, but anyway. I was in that. It was uncomfortable for many years.
I
That
can
legal
imagine.
situation. Yeah, but I lost because Stevie Nicks said she called this guy because he wrote that song, and then they never did a record together. You know why?
Because of the
Because he didn't
lawsuit.
write that song.
Oh, he didn't
You
write it.
call somebody to
yeah.
write a song like that song you wrote, and he went there and lit his incense and crossed his legs and started to play guitar like he thought he played guitar. And Stevie Nicks was looking at him like, I'm a pro in the rock field. You're not going to write a rock song from your genre just because you pick up a guitar and light some incense. So really, the writer was us. So anyway, that's another situation.
I love that. I love that. So,
But
so how did you end up with BIG, and what was that like?
oh well, that's it. I just ended up. I did that record with him. I never did he never had a band to do a tour, so I just did that record with him. I had one moment he was in the studio. We didn't talk much. Uh-oh.
Okay.
It seems like
I'm
a lot of artists.
Are you there? I'm getting
Yeah.
battery.
Can you hear me?
Okay, I got power on now. I had low battery, but I'm good.
Oh, okay.
Solid.
You're good.
So
Okay, good.
So out of all the artists that you've worked with, one that I definitely wanted to ask you about was Miss Alicia Keys. How did that collaboration happen?
That was like what? I was working with a group that was kind of I was working with a gentleman called Ray Chu, and he actually hired me to be in the band, and we did. First thing I did with her was in 2003. When she first started, I did sessions at AOL. We did a live when it first when what you're doing right now just got started on the internet. We did a live concert on the internet at sessions at AOL. I think it was one of the first formats for that. I did it with her, Braxton. I did two of them.
Yeah, Simple Plan. That's how bands like Simple Plan, Sum 41, Alive.
Right, that's how they got it.
They started out like that, and then it went to Yahoo Sessions, that was good until I think 2017, because I think one of the last bands to do a Yahoo thing, and I could be absolutely wrong. I'm just off my head. One of the last bands to do that was We Came as Romans, like rock bands wise, was they did that. I don't know if you're familiar with We Came as Romans.
Yeah. But I didn't know they did it that way. I don't know the history.
I think they were. I've met them. I've met the We Came as Roman guys. I actually hung out with the lead singer a couple months before he passed. I was leaving the concert because I got called to work, and I have a picture online on my Facebook. I'm walking downtown Springfield, and I hear "Let This Love Carry On," and he's like, I hear somebody. I'm like, what? Who the fuck? That sounds. And then, and I was like, oh, someone's warming up. And as hell, I look in the alley, and he's out there like this. And I just sat down, talked to him for a little bit, and he was just the sweetest human being I had met at that point. Like, he was very.
It's nice when that happens, right? You meet somebody and they're not an asshole. It's like it's very tough in my business, and I love that about my boss. Like I see him like
Mr.
for
Sanz?
hours.
About Mr. Sanz?
Alejandro, yeah, he's like gracious with everyone. Like he takes hours sometimes greeting people and hanging with them and getting to know their life and everything. I don't know how. It's amazing to me. But that's one of the reasons why, I guess, I'm here for so long too. Is because, it's a nice thing to work for someone you see their whole life, not just you see them show up on stage and sing and go, and you get to know them. Families know each other. Yeah. So, it's a
I was just wondering, what would you say would be the common denominator between all these successful people? Is it because they're nice? Because some of them are not nice.
Tenacity is just like get up and do it again do it better next time, because you're never gonna, you're never gonna get it right all the time. But the fact that you come back and you beat yourself, you're like you did it, and someone told you this was crap, and maybe it wasn't to you, but you say, okay, if this was crap, I'm gonna make this. Be like you become undeniable. That's what Alejandro does. That's what Big did. That's what Mariah Carey did. That's what all the people I work with, Stevie Wonder, Sting. That's all the people. What Barack Obama, did the best he could. When what. And what was a terrible situation, No, I'm a Brock fan. I can only talk about what I know. So I was there. I was there when it happened, man. I was at the inauguration.
I'll ask you this, Michael.
No, don't.
No. Fuck it. I'm gonna ask you. I don't care. Michael, I'll ask you. You don't have to answer, okay?
Yeah.
Can former President Barack Obama party? Can he party?
Can he party?
Like, does he party hard? Because, dude, you're
like,
telling me
he smoked weed before. He said he did, so I imagine. And he smoked cigarettes. So if you smoke cigarettes, you had a gin and tonic. If you had a gin and tonic, you had 5. If you had 5, I think, dude, I was so disappointed at the inauguration because I'm in the bandstand, and when he finished his walk with his wife, he was coming my way, and I was gonna give him a pound, and I was gonna say something to him like, "Yo, make this shit happen, bro. We're pulling for you. We're on your side, And he was about to come my way, and there was a big space behind me. So I put the guitar down. I'm not gonna give him a guitar hug. That's a bullshit hug. You get guitars in between, it makes noise, everything, everybody's nervous. I'm gonna put the guitar down. I'm gonna get this guy I'm gonna give him a fucking forearm, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give like, I love you, man. I'm happy for you. Make it happen.
You didn't? It didn't happen?
No, the Secret Service grabbed them at the last minute. And Bashiri Johnson, I don't know if you know, but you should get him on your show. Bashiri's a great guy. He's a percussionist for everyone. Bashiri was there, and Bashiri was up on a friggin' riser. And the Secret Service took him out through the exit. And even though Bashiri was up, he hung over and he got a pound.
So what I'm seeing is that Obama could have done better if he would have just pounded you.
Yeah.
Maybe. No.
No.
Look at that. 5 seconds from me. I would have told him how to do it. Do that. Tell the Italians to make Sicilian its own language, and we're good.
Yeah.
We went there.
Done.
Sorry.
Dude, no, that's interesting.
You're gonna get letters about that.
Yeah,
I'm okay.
absolutely.
Dude, we've gotten letters for things that Tommy have said before. Trust me.
Oh yeah.
I can't imagine.
Oh, he came on and he told you heard the episode. He came on and he was talking about Operation Pipe Dream, and we got an email like, hey, we're not gonna name the platform. They were like, hey, thank you so much, but this goes against our community guidelines. And I'm like, he's not saying anything that's untruthful.
Yeah.
Nothing he said in that interview that I can recall of was
on one particular platform because of that.
Well, we're friendly states here, New York and New Jersey. You don't smell pizza anymore in the streets, bro.
Oh my God.
All you smell is weed. What's funny about New York? New York, there's some kind of glitch in the matrix in New York that there's people opening up illegal spots in storefronts because there's some kind of glitch where the cops can't come and shut them down. There's not even people getting licenses anymore. They're just opening up bodegas and selling weed.
Holy shit, really?
Wow.
Like no license, no, thank you, man. No, what do you call it? My wife just bought me a tea.
There you go.
See, somebody loves them. See,
Absolutely.
I love you. I brought you
on. Took a long time, but someone finally loves me.
Somebody finally.
Took a long time. No, but it's like you don't even need an ID. It's crazy. Over here, it's medical.
Over here, it's recreational and medical now.
Yeah,
we actually
got
one
both.
of our sponsors is a Bloom dispensary.
Mm.
It's one of our sponsors for the show.
Yeah, no, we're both too. Jersey's both that way. But I feel bad for the medical guys because they're getting run out of town now because the prescriptions cost so much, and people are like, why? Now it's
Yeah.
legal to go into a regular spot. It's like, why?
Yeah.
But they were talking about, and Tommy probably knows more than this about me, the grow is quick with the recreational, so it's not curing the same. So it's not really the same stuff as the medical.
I don't know, but I know someone we can ask. I think part of the big problem also is a lot of the weed is,
Yeah.
and I'm paraphrasing things that I've read here and there. A lot of the weed that almost everyone in the United States has is coming from California. Like everywhere in Cali, and it's getting sent everywhere else. So I don't know if the growers are having issues. I do know that I'm hopeful that one day down the road we can have a conversation where pharmaceuticals and marijuana can go, hey, if you smoke this but you take this, it helps with this, but
right.
It'll
One day.
I don't see that
One day.
happening anytime soon.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. And dude, going back to what you said about how people are, like, that's like the biggest I don't think people get that, man. Like when we get somebody to come to the show, that's like the biggest concern is, oh my God, is this am I gonna say something that this person's gonna be upset about? Is he gonna be an asshole about something? Like, that's one of the biggest things.
That's his biggest concern. I don't care. So.
Oh, but yeah, when you're doing this kind of thing, I get it. But like, to me, it's like, in this industry that I've been in for 40 years, is like you have to deal with people.
Yes.
So you have to deal with people, and you can't expect to get the same person that you got yesterday, or you have to expect. I mean, and when you live with people, like so I'm director for 17 years over here, and I pick the band, I hire the musicians, and one of the biggest things is like what kind of person you are, because I got to live with you, man.
Yeah.
And if my name, so I'm not the kind of director that if something goes wrong on stage, I say, it was Timmy's fault. Now I don't have a Timmy in the band, so I'm just thinking. Sounds like a guy that would do something fucked up. But if Timmy, I don't say that. I apologize for my group, and I fix it. You know what I mean? So I always have to know, if I'm going to take that shot on the neck, I have to know who you are, because if I'm going to take the blow for you, that's all I require. I require you to be a nice person to each other. So we got to live together. We eat together. After a while, we go out like old school touring. We just did 5 weeks in Mexico. We're going to do 5 weeks in South America. On Wednesday I leave, and then we come back with Alejandro, and then we go and do 9 weeks in Spain.
Wow.
So we're out. So we're seeing each other at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So you have to be also a great player. There's a lot of mediocre players that keep their jobs, like, because they're just nice people. That might be why I'm still here. Wait a minute, I'm not that good of a player. Holy shit.
No, man, but that's a true thing. I feel like we've talked about this before, like when we do, this is a business, there's an LLC, there's copyright and stuff. And like, one of the things that I always tell people is, man, when you do business with somebody, like, you have to be able, I always look at it like this, and I know Eric will laugh, is if I can trust you with my life, my money, and my family, I can trust you fully. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have to be able to, because to me, my family is like number one, my wife and my kids
has to be. Yeah. I have my wife, and I have two girls too. 10 and 14. Yeah.
You got a lot of ammo in the house? You got a lot of bow and arrows, a lot of knives?
Oh yeah. No, man. This is a Sicilian house. Baseball bats, baby. We keep it personal.
The kneecaps.
Personal.
The kneecaps.
We got to be close.
Here,
a 14-year-old girl in the house, that's got to be rough. Oh, man.
Oh, my God. And she started playing drums, man. She's a drummer.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, and she has... I would love to have said, listen, you got to do something else. Because I don't want anybody... This business is treacherous for the most part. Yeah. You got to have a really... you got to have thick-ass skin to stay in here for a long time. And not for girl or boy, because I don't want to take the stance of being misogynistic at all. But these are my daughters, so I wouldn't want them to go through one quarter of the crap I went through just to make a living. You know, everybody sees it now. The studio, you know, the life and everything, but they didn't see when I'd only had a piece of bread and only peanut butter that day. I couldn't even get the jelly, you know, and I didn't have a toaster, so I put it in the oven. You know, like all this stuff that we had to do, gladly do it again. 100%.
What's I was just curious, how big are
That's a good callback. That's a good callback. That's a great callback. I didn't realize that. You caught me off guard there. That's solid.
I missed that. Wait, what?
In the beginning, your dad told you that. You told us that your dad said, your hands they're not for
right. Damn it. Let me tell you something. I got him back though. I got him back because
how?
I got him back because I used to do a show back in the day when I had a band in the clubs, and I would always do a song on drums just because I wanted to show him, you know, like the wrong shit. So, you know, I'd be playing to him, and one day he said, you know, it killed me though. He said, you know what? You might have been a better drummer than a guitar player. I said, what? Motherfucker. Son of a bitch.
Someone told me once, when you have kids, they'll never understand all the struggle it took to get to where you're at. They're just gonna see where you're at.
Yeah.
It's just
Daddy, you don't have a job. I want to be like you. That happened.
Oh God.
Oh
no.
yeah.
Don't get me started on that, Michael.
I just make my money in a pile.
Podcast.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, we just sit down and bullshit.
Yeah.
It's not like we saw like 4 hours of interviews.
Yeah.
But listen, I was so enthralled with my drumming that, you know, I was so interested in my drumming. It was like I did a song that was in Stomp the Yard, the first Stomp the Yard movie, dance movie. I don't know if you know.
Oh,
in the 2000s. And I had a song in the background of a fight scene between Chris Brown and I forget who was it, Neil? Maybe Chris Brown and Neil, whoever was fighting. They were going to have a dance battle, but they needed a rock song behind it. So I had the song submitted, and they took my music for the, you know. But I on my demos, I always play everything. So I was playing drums on this. So I ran into the theater just to hear myself play drums on a big screen, and I wanted to hear myself play drums. So that's what I was fascinated with drumming. But
that's been too long ago. I have no idea about that movie.
So Michael, I gotta ask you this working with Alejandro for 20 years. How did that relationship get started? Because I remember his first album when he came out, and that dude has aged like a fine wine, like a really, really, really good wine that you probably pay $10,000 just to sit next to. You don't want to touch the wine, you just want to look at it.
Right. Different. Way different than he started, no? And that was like a great evolution, because I think with him he's like, he feels responsible, you know, like when he got all these people in the beginning off of his humble beginnings, you know, when he started with a 4-piece band touring in Spain everywhere he could play, and the records were making noise, and then he had all these people that were in love with him. But he feels a responsibility to give them better and better music, you know, like he just feels like he should always grow for them, you know. And I've been there at the beginning of the record, like when the record was finished, I'd be the first one to go down and hear it, because he wanted me to know what kind of musicians I need for the next tour to accomplish this or whatever, and we'd have a conversation. But he'd always be unsure about what he had written, as a humble writer does. Like, he's not saying, oh, I read this. You know, nobody, you know, the real people don't know until the public decides. So he's very humble that way. Like he lets the public decide, you know, like, is this great? You really love it? And then it feels so much more better receiving that than you shoved something down their throat because it was time for you to release a song, you know, and he never does that. So I think that's
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I started in 2003 in No Es Lo Mismo. I started playing, they called me to play guitar because he wanted an American sound infusing into the band. So I was that guy. I came in and I played that tour, and then I left. Actually, in my touring experience, you do like one tour and then you were unemployed and you look for another tour back in the day. So
Yeah.
I never expected to stay this long. I did the tour. We had fun. I made some money. I went back. They call me. They don't call me. And then he called me to play on the next record, which is El Tren.
So you started No Es Lo Mismo. That was the album that you started.
I started that tour.
Oh, you started
the
Lo Mismo
tour.
I started on No Es Lo Mismo tour, and then I went and did and then I went in and became the director. After I did the next record, I became director for El Tren de los Momentos.
Holy cow!
So I played guitar on that record, and then I was the director from that.
Dude, that one Best Latin Pop album, did it not? I believe.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
it did.
Yeah, that one best. I remember that. My favorite song from that, I think it was the. My God, te lo agradezco, pero no.
Yeah, yeah,
the one with Shakira.
Shakira. Yeah, I'm not on
that.
I'm not on that song, but
the one song he's not on.
Yeah, you said. Yeah.
What's the matter with you?
Damn it,
oh my
Richard.
God!
You know, I played on the whole.
That's what you get for telling me about that.
Jesus Christ!
Actually,
so
I have to look. I might have played rhythm on that somewhere, but I'm not sure. I played on the whole record, and then they used what they used. So the rest of the album. But that was the hit. That was the single.
So I gotta ask you, what does it look like? And I don't know if you can answer this because I've asked this to musicians before, and they're like, "Oh, that's trade secret." What does it look like? What does the creative process look like for something like that? Like something that big.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what did the creative process for that look like?
Well, to put together a tour is a lot, because that's the process that I go through. Because I do. He sends me the record and the list of songs, which started at about 30.
Mm-hmm.
30 canciones, and then we go through that and we learn all these songs.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start to put them together, with medleys or with segues, and do little arrangements in between. And then, along with the great musicians that I have, I delegate authority very well. Because I'm, at the end of the day, I make the decision on what's hot. So I say, we need an intro. I want it to be this vibe, and we all participate and include something, and then we come up with something for intros, outros, interlude music. So all that has to be put together before we start a tour. In my world, not in every world, but in my world, because he likes to tell a story like that. So I approach the whole show, which is about 2 hours and 10 minutes. I approach the whole show as one piece of music with about 19 to 20 movements. So it has to feel like one song, rather than, it can't feel like you're just up there and you're just playing a bunch of songs for people. It has to feel like the story's being told.
It's a show. You're putting on a show is what you do.
Right. But not every band approaches it that way. And I'm glad that me and him are in, because he includes videos and lights.
The lights and the people.
Oh yeah.
The visuals, yeah. So when we do the arrangement, go ahead.
How do you? I gotta ask you this because I'm trying to understand this. How do you visualize that? Because that's a lot of shit to do. Like, how do you visualize all these key components? Like, do you grab all? Because 2 hours, that's what, 3 albums. Maybe if you get an encore.
Yeah.
How do you accommodate that to make it work? And my other question to that is, hold on. Do you know, like, oh hey, if I'm in Argentina, they want me to open with No Es Lo Mismo. But if I'm in España, they love it when we open with El Tren de los Momentos. Like, do you have situations like that?
No, we don't do that, because we do about, in the beginning of a tour, we usually do 7 to 8 weeks of rehearsal. So that's the 30 songs. And then when we do that, and I work them, like, we usually do 6 days, 10-hour days.
Cool.
But we get it so fine-tuned that's the tour, and the opening song is the opening song, because you can't every night, because we have lights and videos that go along with that.
Yeah.
So everything has to be set. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you come out to this song, so we're actually using, I wanted to switch it up this year, so I talked to him about using the song we used to do at the end of the show, which is No Es Lo Mismo, and we opened the show with that song. you know.
Oh, like
So
comics do with jokes. They're
Okay.
finishing joke at the and one special normally is the opener or segue to the okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting that dude, but mentally that's like how do you do that? Do you write it down on paper? Do you have like because you obviously you know his songs by heart, so you know
well,
where
no, I don't know more. But when I get them new, no. But I sit here in my studio, which is right here. I'm in my
holy shit.
in my spot. And that's my organ. It's from 1879. I'm rebuilding it. It's a
Man.
pump organ, you know. But I sit here in my studio, and I basically I can't tell you all the secrets, but
No. And that's why I'm trying to like find a way to word it. Like here's
I basically sit with I do it like you do guys you guys do with the show. I build a storyboard.
Yep.
With the songs, and I put them all up, and I look at them, and I look at tempos and melodies and keys, and I start to change them, and then I listen to the whole, I listen to pieces. So so I'll cut up these songs in Pro Tools, and I'll put them together, and then I'll decide this is good into this song, this works into this song. Not always. Sometimes it doesn't happen until I get there live, and I change my whole MO is changed.
So
sometimes I got a plan, man makes plans and God laughs, like you get there and you go, oh,
Murphy Law.
Yeah, but I listen is what it is. And I try to tell musicians and directors I listen. So if there's a bunch of people playing an interpretation of his music in the room, I'm listening to things and I say, stop. That's the intro to the song. And they look at me like, what? I said, yeah, what you just played right there, I want you to play it by yourself on piano. And that's the intro to the song. Like I hear in
I got
compartments, I hear things it's terrible. It's horrible because I listen to the radio.
So that's interesting because first of all, I don't know.
I can't enjoy unless I'm super drunk. I can't enjoy music because I'm producing it. No, I listen to the song. Why did you do that? Why did you mix this fucking record? Definitely. Like I'm listening to stuff like that, but that's how I work with that, and it takes me. I usually do about 2 weeks by myself.
Okay.
Before I.
So how did you know that we storyboard stuff? Because we've never told that to anybody. It's interesting that you like.
Oh,
you got that. Yeah, because I saw your face when he said it. Like you like shocked.
It's
and
so much easier. Like, we do it. So when I do the set list too, is like when I do the set for the show, I do it like that. So it has to be that way because I'm hearing it from front to back. I'd say, "What's the show?" And they'll say 2.5 hours. His management will say 2.5 hours, and he'll tell me, let's do like an hour and 20 minutes. That's enough.
Alejandro will tell you like an hour.
Yeah, I mean, I get it because it's a lot to look at when you say, "Holy shit, 2.5 hours," and he's got to sing.
Yeah,
and he's got to be on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he can't have like I can't coach through it either because I'm directing. I'm actually starting and stopping every song. We start with the click track, and I start the song with a button, and everything is connected to my computer. So the videos start and the lights start. They're all programmed. So I have to be on. I can't be off.
So he does sing.
The nights that I've been off, which are very few, I've been told about it. So I don't like to be told about that. So the nights that I've been off, I've been told about it. So he feels.
Well, no, I was going to say he does sing live because I don't know if you remember a few years ago. There's been a lot of artists accused of having a recording. They just lip sync.
He sings
during the concert.
Not him at all.
And, what does he do for vocals? I need to know that secret. What does he do?
He like has a religious thing, and he doesn't sway from it. Like he doesn't have the air on in the room. First of all, he doesn't do air conditioning before the show. No way. After the show, yeah, but before the show to tighten the vocal cords up, never. And then he'll kick us out of the dressing room for a good, half hour before he goes on, and he'll open up. He does his warm-ups religiously.
Drink a lot either. Okay. If he has that, because that I can tell right now, like he probably doesn't drink a lot of alcohol. He probably consumes a shit ton of water. Like probably
he drinks a lot of water.
Yeah,
and
I mean, it's probably lemon water too.
It's probably lemon.
Dude, he works out like I said earlier. He works out like crazy, bro. I mean,
I gotta ask for the people. Does he do jujitsu? By any chance?
I don't know that. I don't know what he does really. I know that he's busy and he looks good, so he's always working out.
Dude, but going back
Yeah.
to you, that's a lot of like I'm trying to like think in my head because like I said, I'm a fan of your guys' work.
Yeah.
The way that you do it is like block by block by block. Like
Yeah.
that is just
Yeah,
I'm
strong.
trying to think.
We don't like to do a lot of bullshit on it. He doesn't, and since I've been with him, he used to talk a lot,
Mhm.
you know, to the audience in the beginning. And now it's like boom, boom, boom. And I gotta be on with him, you know, to understand when the timing is of when to start the next song. Because that can destroy everything. And the few times, because we have a great team, you know, we travel with 40 people on the road. And when we hit the States, we use like 4 trucks, 4 semis, and you know, we do the big touring thing. But we have so many great people that it really never, we really never have very few technical glitches. But when we have had them, and I haven't been able to start the song at the right moment, you can feel it's like starting a piston. It's like the whole energy is like, it can happen once in the show, I can recover, but it can't happen, you know, it can't happen more than once, you know. It's like, you know,
like
that's about what I wanted to tell you about playing live, about the you know, the voiceover thing that you were saying, you know, with the tracks. You know, actually people were criticizing me. And I want to address this because the one guy who posted this about when I went down, out of the millions of posts, one guy said, "Oh, Mike kept playing on the floor because he didn't want everybody to know that the show is playback." So that's what I was thinking about when I was on my back. I was thinking, oh no, they're gonna find out we're not really playing, so I'll play. You know? So listen, so the first show back after the fall, we were a little tense. I was terrified because I knew I was gonna fall again. I said, I'm gonna fall. This time it's gonna be my fault. You know, and I was, you know, like you get that paranoid, like you did. Oh shit! I'm on this stage. I think I did about 700 shows without Alejandro, right up to this point, like about 700. You know, never have this happen to me, but it's going to happen every night, right? So, you know, it's that we don't, you know, it's that we don't use tracks for that, and there's a point in the show after that. The next night we were tense. And I have a solo by myself with just a keyboard player, and it's a solo. So he comes out to me and gives me a pound after my solo. He's taking a minute, and I'm playing. After I hit the end of the solo, I turn around to him and I start the next song. You know, but he came out that time right when I was turning around, and I said, "It's not fucking playback, is it, bitch?" And I was saying that to the audience, you know, like, you think this is playback? And he heard me, and we were laughing on stage about it. We had a laugh.
Oh God.
You know? So we had a laugh, but you know, it was
dude. So
no.
out of all the places you've been, because you've traveled the fucking world, what's your favorite place so far? Country wise or city wise, either or.
I mean, I gotta tell you the truth. I mean, I love Mexico. You know, I love Spain, and let me tell you something about Spain is that when I used to go there with the other bands I played with over the years, you know, I play with, you know, I started directing in 1986 on the Madonna tour, opening up with the Force MDs, which was a big hip hop R&B group, and I was on stage in front of 140,000 people. But in those days, you know, it was tough to. I lost my train of thought. What were we saying?
No. It's your favorite. First of all, I gotta ask you something about Madonna. I don't know if this is true. This is a story that they've told in Puerto Rico time after time, and I have to ask you.
Favorite place. I got it. Yeah.
Allegedly, Madonna is not allowed to do shows in Puerto Rico because she took the Puerto Rican flag and wiped in between her legs with it. I think it was 92 or 93, and then she was like banned from the island. Have you ever heard that?
I've never heard that, and I don't put it past her, like that she's that kind of chick, but I'm sure she meant it in a good way.
I mean,
she meant it.
Madonna gave me that flag.
She wanted to give Puerto Rico some of what everybody wanted from her in that point. I mean, that was what people were thinking of Mo. You know, she was that chick. You know, she built her career on. She built her career. What happened?
Nothing.
Nothing, Michael. It's just fucking Eric being Eric. I would like to know where that flag is. I just want to know who owns that flag. I just that was where I was going with that question. Is Michael, do you know where that flag is? Because that would be the only Puerto Rican flag. Listen, all Puerto Ricans put their flag in their car and everywhere. I don't have a flag anywhere. That's
I
one
don't know.
flag that I put.
But the guys I was with when I was directing on the tour, we did the whole European tour. She would stick her head in the dressing room every night after we went on. We did our 25 minutes, and then she'd get ready to go on, and she'd always stick her head in the dressing room and ask us if we were good. How was the crowd? Treat you good? All good? You need anything? She was always cool. That's what I remember about it. And they set me up because I was not only white guy in the group. I was the musical director, and I was the only, back then, I guess you could call me Italian, but I was the only one in the band. So they set her up like, our musical director's in love with you. Can you come in and mess with him? And she came in this night and she sat in my lap. And she sat in my lap and she was asking the band, everything good? And she's stroking my face and playing with my eyelashes. And then she turned to me and she said, what about you? Everything good with you? And I said something like, Stop. So that was my moment.
Which is a correct response.
Yeah.
Yeah. And mind you, I'm not a fan. Okay. But still, it's like the closest I had ever been to a really famous person at that point, like when, so it was special, but it was a funny story. That's funny. But the famous places, I mean, going back to that, Spain, is like everybody used to talk about Barcelona, and I love Barcelona, but I've spent so much time in Madrid that I love this city like my second home, like I know I go there so often that people in restaurants, they put me in the same seat when I come in, like after months and months not being there, or a year, after pandemic was 2 years, and I come into the restaurant and they say hello, and it's like, it's comfortable, and it's a beautiful city, and the people are great. Mexico, man, gets such a bad rap, but it's, to me, all over Mexico, the people and the culture is incredible. I have to say my country, I love being in the USA, but my other country that my family came from, I'm first generation here, so everybody else was from over there, or like we say in the Bronx, over there. And I love Italy. Actually, my wife and I are gonna take a few days. I gotta finish a tat here because I got Bronx here, and I gotta get Sicily here. So then I'm complete, because everything matters to me. Like, I just don't write on my arms. Just, everything has to mean something. So
Italy, Spain and Mexico, huh? I think you've been to Spain a lot, right?
Yeah, I've been to Spain.
Yeah,
Barcelona. Barcelona is very nice. I didn't make it to Madrid, but yeah, I have been to Barcelona.
Barcelona is super place, and the food is incredible. And it's more, to me, Barcelona is more European. You go to Madrid,
it's very European there, yes.
But you go to Madrid,
the architecture, the European influence.
But you go to Madrid, that's Spain.
That's Spain.
That is, you're in Spain. The culture, the people, the way they speak, everything that's Spain, and then Andalusia, where Alejandro's from, is like, that's a special place, in the south.
Like it, yeah. That's interesting, dude. That's I for sure thought you were gonna say somewhere in South America.
No, I love it's very difficult, because I'm going to Argentina on Wednesday, and I'm going to Colombia on Wednesday. I'm going to end up in Argentina at the end of the tour for like 2 weeks. We've sold out down there, and and Colombia, and all these places are, I've been blessed that way, and it's been since Alejandro, because the R&B artists that I work with in the day, we used to do a trip to Germany. We spend 3-5 days there, a week, maybe 2 weeks maximum, and then we come home. Sometimes I do like rehearsal before the tour, and the tour starts in Spain, and we do 10 weeks in Spain, and I'm there for 7 weeks first, so I'm there for 20 weeks. It's like a home, it's like, it's like
that's a residency practically.
The residency. So, by the time we leave Spain, it's like, you have to be comfortable, otherwise you're going to be miserable. you know. So
Do you need anybody to carry your luggage while you're there? No, it's just
Listen, do you need security, prior military combat deployments? I'm a
Yes.
in jujitsu.
I'm just saying. I'm just, you know.
you know, somebody asked me, my mechanic asked me, he's a friend of mine too, but for like 25 years, and he's Mexican, and he asked me, I was in Mexico, he said, you feel safe? I said, yeah, I feel fine. I mean, I get different treatment there because, you know, when we go to the shows, we have security and all that stuff. I don't get to see the real deal until after the show's over and I'm out by myself, but I never feel like, I never feel bad, and probably has to do with I grew up in the Bronx. You know, I didn't grow up in a great place, so I know bad places. I know when it's time to cross the street.
Yeah,
you see trouble coming.
When you see people
you have a choice. Yeah, when I'm younger, it's another story. But when I'm younger, I'm old. So when I'm younger, I never once walked down the street thought I would be shot. Never once that I could be shot. Maybe stabbed.
Yeah.
But stabbing, you know, you do a little move, you get out of the way.
Hispanics, I get it. The Hispanics, you know.
You run to the hospital, you know, and you can live. A gunshot is like, how can you fight today? You can't fight. Like, so what I'm saying is, like, you know when to cross the street. You're not gonna put up, you know, you're not gonna. You see trouble, you smell trouble, you smell trouble. That's it. So no, I don't find these places any more dangerous than any place else. So you be careful, that's all. You know, but Argentina is beautiful, man. I love it.
I gotta ask you two things, but before we head out.
Okay.
Dude, thank you so much for doing this. Like, you have no.
I know you said an hour and a half, and there's no problem for me. I can talk.
Oh no! It's just we gotta eat.
Yeah,
I hear you. Tell me what you want to ask me.
So this is more like me personally, because I'm an interpreter. Do you not have it? Because I've heard you speak Spanish. I heard your interview. I forget with who, that there was.
Oh my God! I was in Spain.
In Spain.
Do you not, like? Is there not a language barrier there? Because Royal Spanish is very different from Castellano, Caribbean, Spanglish. Like, and you're.
Para mí sí. En España yo tengo muchos problemas con parables.
And I have a lot of problems speaking when I'm talking.
Yeah. I have a lot of problems with in Spain. And if Alejandro watches this right now, he's gonna kill me because he's pissed at me that I don't speak fluent by this point. You know,
that's funny.
He's super pissed. But we speak. I understand everything, so the band can't talk shit about me.
That's a plus. I
prefer shit talk to my face.
I like
do.
that.
I address it straight. I don't like to hear from somebody else. I like to hear it, and you get it because you know. But in Colombia, I have no problem. In Puerto Rico, I have no problem. In Spain, I get nervous and I choke up because they invented the language. Just like my English ain't be no goods in England. I get more sorries than I get que in Spain. You know? In England, I get sorry. Sorry. Say again. You know, in Spain, I get que. So
look at you with that disgust, like, ¿Qué español es este? What Spanish is this?
No, it's better now. But yeah, it's my fault.
My second question is, favorite food that you've had while touring in your career. What's the best food you've had probably in your career? Like everywhere.
They asked me. I just lost 25 pounds, and I'm tending to keep it off. And like I'm trying not to remember because I don't want to fall in love with food again.
Oh shit! I just
You just ruined it for him.
That's very difficult because in Spain, it's every town has a specialty, and it's amazing. And we get spoiled because we get treated to, you know, the promoter says, no, you're going here, and you have to go to this place. You know, and there's a little cochinito, there's a little pig here, there's a little sheep here, but everything is amazing. You know, like I don't know. That's a difficult one. I love the meat in Argentina. You know, and you know, everything in Spain is like I couldn't even start from from the dishes that I've learned about, you know, all over the world. It's like, it's incredible, man. Sushi in Japan. I mean, it's hard to do. I mean, I gotta say Italy, no?
Yeah.
I gotta say Italy because
Sicily probably has the best food ever.
Sicily is like, you know, what's funny is like you say that is Sicily is like a lot of mariscos. You know, there's a lot of seafood, but I'm not a fan. There you go.
Oh, that's not
Yeah,
good.
that kind of. I mean, I do eat it, and there are things, and I eat fish, but I like it raw. You know, like.
No,
That's very un-Sicilian of you, eating raw fish.
It is. It is slightly. That might be the. I have 3%. I did the DNA. I have 3% of Greek. So that might be. No, they like seafood too, man.
Michael, thank you so much for doing this. And
thank you, guys.
The world tour that you're going to be on with Alejandro, can you give us the dates so everybody can go ahead and look it up? Because we have people in Colombia. We have people.
Yeah, in Colombia, we're there on the 14th of this month, which is next Friday. In Colombia, okay. Then we go to off the top of my head. Then we fly to Lima, and then Lima we go to Ecuador, and then I think Ecuador. They're gonna kill me if I don't remember, but I think Ecuador we go to Chile. And then Chile, we go to Argentina. We spend a lot of time in Argentina. We do one show in Montevideo and Uruguay, and then we come home. And then we go to Spain for 9 weeks. So we're playing in Spain until August 3rd. And then we do the States. And how close are you guys to a show we're doing? You guys should come.
Bro, it doesn't matter. You tell me where we can
go. Chicago or Dallas?
Dallas? I'll go.
Dallas.
Would you go?
Would you go with me?
Yeah, we'll go. Okay. Absolutely. You tell me, listen, you tell me where in the Midwest and we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen.
I just told you.
I'm just saying
No, but we're doing border towns in Texas. That's very far, you know, like McAllen, and we do a lot of El Paso and we do that stuff down there, but there's not a lot of Latinos in the middle of the country, you know.
Yeah, I know. I can spot them. That's why I'm here. It's easier to traffic here. It's easier.
Especially Boricuas. There's not a lot, right? As you get out into as you get out into the middle of the world. But but we playing there, and Dallas is probably the closest, you know, will be. So
we'll make that happen. I'd love to hang out and talk.
Look at the schedule. It's on alejandrosanz.com. And then tonight I'm playing an acoustic show. I don't know, you know, nobody's gonna hear it now, right? So when will you air this?
Monday.
Monday is coming.
Okay. Up. Well, then forget about tonight. Tonight I'm playing with Corey. It's a great show, acoustic show, just me and him. So at the Bitter End. It's a famous club in New York. Super famous.
That's good to know. Share that, to put that out there on the thing. Michael, thank you so much for doing this. Stick around after this.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Stick around, Michael. To everybody listening, man, go ahead and hit the subscribe and the like button on YouTube, the Patreon, on anywhere else that you have it. Go ahead and follow Marco Ciro on Instagram and Alejandro Sanz. Everybody, we'll see you next time. And thank you so much for being with us.
Yes, definitely.